Hello everyone, I'm Grandmaster Denes Boros and I'm going to show you the legends of the Benoni, now starting with Bobby Fischer. Now, Bobby Fischer was the first one who really brought the Benoni to the limelight and it actually opened the eyes of future champions. So let's take a look. d4, knight f6, c4, c5, e6, the beginning moves of the Benoni. He takes d5. Now in modern days, they do play d6, trying to limit the options for the opponent, or that is Wolfgang Uhlmann. But here, James Fischer decided to go here instead. g6, bishop f4. Now in an earlier video, I talked about bishop f4 with pawn to e3 instead of pawn to e4. However, this is also an interesting concept. a6, same idea as usual. Black is trying to go for b5 and some majority on this side of the board. a4, bishop g7, knight f3. So now Black decided to castle. However, hindsight, bishop g4 might be even better, forcing a trade of the bishop. He castled. But here, actually, Uhlmann could have tried pawn to h3. That could have been an idea, although he might have been scared of knight takes e4 and potential attacks on the king. So in any case, Uhlmann decided to go bishop e2, allowing bishop g4, which is gonna be traded. Fischer is kind of claiming, well, this is more of a closed position, so I don't really need my wide squared bishop. I'll be happy with my two knights. Castles, rook e8, h3. And this is the moment where Fischer came up with a spectacular idea. So if I were you, I'd pause the video, think about my move, and then come back to see what transpired in this game. So welcome back. Here you are. You're wondering what's happened. Well, bishop takes f3 is a normal choice, and then Black would get into a standard Benoni. However, Fischer realized that these bishops are undefended, so Black played knight takes e4. Now, taking the knight is taboo, because rook takes e4, and if takes, then rook takes f4. In fact, in the game, Uhlmann played bishop g5, but we'll talk about that later. The other critical move is h takes g4. If knight takes c3, there's pawn to c3 and Black is down a piece. But Black has this spectacular idea of bishop takes c3. If pawn takes, knight takes, and the queen and bishop is hanging the same time, and even if you just move it away, takes, and you're going to lose that f4 bishop as well. Therefore, in this case, after knight takes e4, White had to take bishop g5, and seemingly there's big trouble brewing, because the bishop is hanging and so is the queen on d8. However, Bobby Fischer found queen e8, which counterattacks that e2 bishop, so White just does not have that extra move to capture that. So rook takes e2, and then Black would be just up a whole pawn. Bishop d3, and clutch, bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, rook b4. Finding a safe spot for the rook, and now all needs to do is just to get the b8 and rook out in the corner. So rook e1, bishop e5. Just closing it down. Queen d1, queen takes a4. Obviously, Bobby Fischer is interested in trades because without queens, it's unlikely that Uhlmann is going to break through. So probably the best practical choice would have been for Uhlmann to go queen f3 and try his best. Instead, he took f4, check, king h1. However, in this case, Black is in time to stop rook e8 check, and the knight is coming in clutch to attack the d5 pawn. Rook e7, knight f6. Now, even if White goes into this endgame, this is pretty bad because there are just too many weaknesses in the position, and Black can go rook d4, pressing both the d5 pawn and the bishop on d3. So instead, Uhlmann decided to take on b7, knight h5, pressing the king. So even though Fischer has the advantage, he keeps on pressing his opponent. King h2, bishop e3. This rook that seemed offsides is actually pressing that f-pawn, and it doesn't really give enough time for Uhlmann to reorganize his pieces. Bishop e2, takes, rook b6, takes. Obviously, every trade is in his favor. And now he's deciding which pawn to take. He goes for rook d8 over defending that one. Takes, king g7, king f6. It is endgame time, so it is time to walk on in with that king. King e5, rook f8, rook d7, knight f6. Well, if Fischer would be living in our times, he'd say, "Oh no, my pawn!" And in that case, king e5 would trap that rook over on d6. And if the rook moves, then there's knight takes d5, and of course, black is winning with 2 extra pawns. So in this position, Wolfgang Uhlmann from Germany resigned. What a spectacular game and an important tactical sequence that actually brought in other legends to play the variation, including Garry Kasparov, among plenty of others. I really hope you watched and loved this video, and if you did, do leave a comment below, and I'd love to hear your ideas. And if you enjoyed it very much, you love the Gambit videos as well, please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again. With that, bye.